Okay, this is the TTP trend bands indicator, and you can see that I have four charts up here. So I have the trend bands indicator set to four different settings on each of these four charts. This is the default setting here with the chart on the bottom left, and you can see that it's using the first moving average, okay, and then what's called the signal smoothing. So what this is a moving average of the first moving average. So the default setting for the first moving average is the ADX VMA, and then for the second, the moving average of the first, so this is a Tilson T3 of the first ADX VMA. Alright, and obviously we could choose any number of different combinations of moving averages. The reason I had this put together was because I wanted to do a lot of experimenting with different moving average combinations. And from the testing that I've done, typical moving averages and crossovers and things like that, and different trend finding conditions with the various moving averages aren't all that beneficial. But when you start to put together these exotic types of moving averages and then do averages of the averages, then you can come up with some pretty interesting combinations, and I'll show you a good example of that in a moment. Okay, so you have the option to turn on or off the arrows, and the arrows are showing you when you have a close above both lines or a close below both lines. Okay, and then the paint bars are showing you when, after having closed above both of the lines, you're in a long condition, so you're in an uptrend. You'll remain in that uptrend until you close back below both lines again. Okay, so we can turn those off, leave the arrows on, turn the arrows off, and of course you have a built-in alert as well, which will alert you when you have a close above both lines or a close below both lines. So we'll turn the paint bars back on, and you can change the degree of the opacity between the bands. So if you wanted no coloring between the bands, you would just set this to 0. And if you're going to use this inside a Bloodhound, it's always best to set this to 0 so that it doesn't have to make that calculation within the trading system, within Bloodhound. So we'll just keep this at 3 for now on the chart. So I've given you four basic different combinations. Of course, you could put any combination together, and before I show you a strategy with one of these, let me show you this one, because this is actually something I've been looking into recently with this indicator. So the fast one in this case is the Tilson T3, so I've switched them. So default, the Tilson T3 is the smoothing, and then the ADX VMA is actually the first moving average type. So I've switched them around, and you can see what it does is the first one, the fast one, actually hugs price very closely. And then the ADX VMA is basically the smoothing band on it. So you can see that it actually keeps you in the trend much longer, but then when the trend changes, it does so very quickly. So it's a bit more responsive when the trend is changing, but then it will hold you in a trend longer. So this is kind of interesting. Obviously, you can see when it gets you into a short trend here, and then it quickly reverses, well, it actually reverses the trend very, very quickly as well. And what you can see on here, this yellow line, this is actually the Super Smoother filter by John Ehlers, and this is one of the averages. In the drop-down menu here, you have, I think, 24 different moving averages. So you can see the Super Smoother 2 and 3 pole right there. And just to show you the different moving averages that come with this, we have the ADX VMA that you can use separately, the Butterworth filter, the double triangular moving average, the Ehlers filter, the Gaussian filter, the moving median, Ehlers Super Smoother filter, the zero lag Heikin-Ashi triangular exponential moving average, and then the zero lag triangular exponential moving average. Okay, so you have quite a few different exotic moving average types. Now, what I like to do is I like to use the Super Smoother as a proxy for price when defining different pullback and price action conditions. Rather than using price bars, sometimes I'll use the zero lag as a proxy for defining certain conditions. Now, what I wanted to show you was this. This is a combination that I've recently been working with. So this is a 13 period Tilson T3 and a 21 period ADX VMA. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply SI Raven, the strategy component with Bloodhound, and test a fairly simple system that I've built with this combination. And just to show you what that looks like, it's essentially allowing for only one long, then one short. So we couldn't get two longs in a row or two shorts in a row. We can only have alternating trades, which is what this counter, blocker, and if-then logic node is doing. So let's add the proper entry logic. Backtest mode true. We'll set this to 42 ticks and 17 ticks for the stop, and then we'll turn it on. Okay, so there you go. So we've just run the strategy on how many days? Let's see. 60 days. Okay, so let's right click strategy performance. Okay, it's pretty good. It's very good, actually. Now, obviously, I don't have slippage factored into this, so let's do that now. Let's add the slippage. Let's do this correctly. Okay, so let's now add the slippage. We're going to add 2 ticks of slippage for crude oil. Re-enable it. Hit OK. Okay, now then let's see. Okay, so yeah, about 2,200 in 2 months with a much lower profit factor now after slippage has been taken into consideration and commission. So you see, that's one thing that people, sometimes fail to do. They think they're onto something brilliant. And then they actually factor in the commission and the slippage, and it turns out to be not so good. But you can see with this, even something so simple as just a moving average, well, it's kind of an interesting combination the way I've done this, but with just a moving average little trading system here, it's giving pretty interesting results. And of course that wouldn't have been possible with any normal combination of different moving averages. That's why I've had this built, so I could do experiments like this and try to come up with something quite beneficial as far as using different moving average type trend conditions and trigger conditions. So that's pretty good. Obviously, what do we have here? Let's make this currency. So about, on average, $37 per trade. After commission and slippage, anything over 2 or 3 ticks, I'm happy with. All right, it's not excellent, but you can make a living off of 2 ticks positive expectancy, as long as you can keep that consistent. So this is something worth pursuing clearly. Okay, so I just wanted to show that one simple strategy combination of different parameters with these TTP trend bands. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of some of the things that are possible with this indicator. I think it is very, very interesting and actually quite useful. So that's why I wanted to put it up and make it available for all of you traders that are interested in developing your own systems and having something that's actually going to be useful for you. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening.